The facts as they are, brought to you every day, only on GIS Channel 7.
Dominica well on its way to achieving Millennium Development Goals. The Aid Bank reports $1 million net profit for the review period ending June 30, 2012, and an all-psychiatric unit to be transformed into a modern conference center.
Hello, I'm Jarna Hector. Welcome to National Focus.
And I'm Tarnia Green. Stay with us as we bring you the details of these and other stories when National Focus returns.
You're watching GIS.
Welcome back. Time now for the details of the news. The Dominica Agricultural, Industrial and Development Bank, the Aid Bank, has recorded a net profit of $1.1 million for the financial year ending June 30, 2012. Chairman of the Aid Bank, Martin Charles, made the disclosure when he highlighted the major achievements of the bank during the bank's 20th annual general meeting on Wednesday.
Operations for this financial year recorded a net profit of EC 1.01 million, which was approximately 55.18% less than the net profit of 2.35 million recorded at June 30th, 2011.
The chairman of the board of directors of the Aid Bank said the year ended June 30th, 2012 marked a major milestone in the life of the bank's 40-year operations.
Over the past 40 years, the bank has approved loans of EC 538.34 million for economic and social development in Dominica. This includes over 86.14 million for agriculture, 106.43 million for services, manufacturing and transportation, 81.87% for tourism, 122.90 million for housing, and 93.31 million for students, 39 million for personal lending, 6.50 million for infrastructure, and equity investments of 2.13 million.
The chairman also reported that disbursement amounted to an average of 85% of approvals, or $455.86 million over the past 4 decades. According to the chairman of the Aid Bank Board of Directors, loan approvals over the past 3 years have amounted to $112.81 million, or 20.95% of total approvals over the past 40 years, while disbursements of $85.72 million over the past 3 years amounted to 18.80% of total disbursements over the entire period of the bank's existence. The chairman also noted that the year under review was also the third of the bank's 5-year strategic plan for the period 2009-2014, and in the face of continued uncertainty in the global environment, the Aid Bank continued to make a solid contribution to private sector growth.
In the third year of the strategic plan, the bank took on some special projects of national significance, with a view to improving the competitiveness of local industries on the eve of the creation of the single economic and financial space within the OECS, scheduled for July 2013.
Honorable Ambrose George represented Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Honorable Roosevelt Skerrit, at Wednesday's annual general meeting, said the aid bank will continue to be used as a key institution in government's efforts to facilitate private sector investment. The minister challenged the bank about the need to continue to make investment while at the same time preserving the integrity and status of the bank.
The concern of this government is that whatever we do must redound to the benefit of citizens. In this environment, it is no longer enough to gauge our success by the number of loans granted or the value of loans disbursed. These are necessary targets, but the real measure is where a greater number of loans or larger loans are converted to real economic activity and real poverty reduction. More jobs and greater revenues to the state so that more goods and services can be provided to the citizens. Our ability to achieve such results will require skill and innovation by the management and board of directors. It is always a delicate balance between the need to make investments while remaining prudent.
The minister commended the bank for its success in the last year and encouraged the institution to continue to push forward in order to meet all of its objectives. In doing so, the minister pledged government's continued commitment to the bank.
The government of Dominica maintains its commitment to supporting the work of the aid bank. We are mindful that the loans obtained by the aid bank are backed by a government guarantee, implicit or explicit, and as such, it is important that the lending policy of the bank takes this into consideration. Equally important is the responsibility of borrowers to meet their obligations to the aid bank. I fully endorse the bank's effort to recover monies owed to it. If not collected, it is the taxpayers of this country who would be paying that bill. That is a situation which I find to be most unfortunate and unfair.
In other news, plans are afoot to transform the old Acute Psychiatric Unit, or the APU building, of the Princess Margaret Hospital into a state-of-the-art conference center. Health Minister Honorable Julius Timothy made the disclosure when he addressed a recent activity at the Princess Margaret Hospital. The minister revealed that earlier plans to demolish the APU building were reversed based on an engineer's report which confirmed that the building was in fact structurally sound.
When I became Minister for Health, this building was up for demolition. When I saw the amount of money involved in getting this building demolished, I said, let us get an engineer's report on the structural integrity of the building. And the structural integrity, the report said the building is sound and can give us another 20 to 30 years. I decided we were not going to spend that money destroying this building, but we were going to utilize it. And this is intended to be our conference center. Because previously, when we had any function for the hospital, we had tremendous difficulty because our conference room was really a little cubby hole, and otherwise we had to go outside, get space from other facilities. So we have reorganized here, and as you all can see, it's very spacious, and we will ensure that it is well kept and well utilized.
The health minister disclosed that with assistance from the Ross University School of Medicine, the new conference facility will be equipped with all necessary equipment.
We got Ross University involved, and they are keen on providing all the equipment necessary to staff this building. The intention is we will have a state-of-the-art podium, we will have our viewing facility with video conferencing center, as well as tables and chairs with a view to having conferences here. That is, each table will have its own little speaker system so that the participants can all interact and everybody can hear. We also intend to put an accordion partition just about the middle of the building so that we can also have 2 sessions at the same time.
Minister Timothy says plans are also to house important health departments within the building. This will include the Health Information Unit and an Oncology Department.
At the back, our Health Information Unit, that's Dr. Ricketts and his staff, will be accommodated. Downstairs is going to be our Oncology Department. Ross University has already agreed to provide all the equipment and the furnishings. In fact, they would like to open the department next month, but I don't think our contractors will be quite ready. So downstairs is intended to be our Oncology Department, and we're going to have our Drug Information Unit downstairs as well. So this building is going to be fully utilized, and the intention is to really make it look good.
The conference center at the PMH should be ready for use sometime in the new year.
And the MSC Poesia made its inaugural call to Dominica on Monday. Discover Dominica Authority representatives, government officials, tourism stakeholders, and the media will welcome aboard the 963 foot cruise ship for the Crest Exchange and Welcome Ceremony. The MSC Poesia is one of a fleet of ships owned by the Mediterranean Shipping Company out of Italy. It has a passenger capacity of 3,200 with a crew of 987. On board the ship, Tourism Minister Honorable Ian Douglas welcomed the ship and the new relationship between the MSC Poesia and Dominica. His welcome was an informative overview of the many assets that Dominica has to offer, while touting to the Trafalgar Falls as a priority site for cruise ship-led tours.
There are a number of great attributes about Dominica that makes us very unique, that makes us unlike any other island on any itinerary that you will design. Even in the Caribbean, we stand out as the nature island of the world, as the eco-destination that can give you a number of different experiences that cannot be replicated or cannot be repeated in any island. So take, for example, one of the best attractions on the island is the Trafalgar Falls. And what we have done in the Ministry of Tourism and Discover Dominica, really, we have reserved that site for your passengers. So the passengers taking organized tours will have priority access and will be able to enjoy the Trafalgar Falls basically all to themselves, really. And the only way to access the falls, especially in the morning between the hours of 8 to 12, really, is to take an organized tour and to get into the site. So that's one of the advantages that we offer to all of the cruise lines who choose to take that tour.
Minister Douglas also mentioned the Waitakubuli National Trail and Champagne Dive and Snorkel area. He solicited feedback from the MSC Poesia, explaining that tourism is very important to Dominica.
Cruise business and tourism is very important to us. Tourism is the largest foreign investment earner on the island. Employs directly maybe about 5,000 persons in the industry, and a lot of other persons benefit from tourism. So we take this call very seriously. When we say to you that we appreciate the decision to place Dominica on the itinerary, we are not just saying that, it's not just rhetorical, but we really and truly mean it. And whatever observations that you make from the time you docked this morning to the time that you will leave this evening, we'll be happy to continue the dialogue, Captain, to interact with you to ensure that the product that we offer to your guests and to you and to your company is world-class, 100%, second to none. So we thank you, we welcome you to the nature island of the world, and we wish you all the best for the future.
Chief Executive Officer of the Dominica Air and Seaport Authority, Benwa Badwell, spoke about the lobbying efforts that brought the Poesia to Dominica.
Let me say how pleased we are after several years of negotiation with MSC, and particularly I want to mention here the great amount of work done by Ms. Kathleen Coffey and the rest of the team from Dominica over the years in speaking with Mr. Rick Sasso to try to see how we could get MSC to call into Dominica. And based on several negotiations that we had, we're indeed pleased today to have the MSC POESA in port today. We're indeed happy to have you here today because we told Mr. Sasso, surely just coming for one day would create an impression. And we do hope that the impression is not only meant with the crew, but more importantly with the passengers, because we would like when they come back, the feedback that they would give, surely you would go back and look at your itinerary again.
Head of the Discover Dominica Authority, Colin Piper, welcomed the MSC POESA to the Nature Isle.
We want to welcome you in a special way and let you know how pleased we are to be having this, what is the first and only call this year, but what we hope will be the first of many calls to come in the years to come as well. So my job is very easy. It's just to say to you that we are extremely pleased that you're here, and we hope that the view and vision that you had coming alongside this morning was a spectacular one and one to behold, and one that your cruise passengers will in fact want to go out there and see more of. And so we hope that the organized tours have been good in terms of numbers, and we hope that your passengers go out and experience a little bit of what is Dominica and come back with wonderful stories. So again, just want to say welcome to Dominica, and I'm glad to get these proceedings going. And as I mentioned before, we hope that this is the first of many calls to come into the future.
Representing the agent HHV Whitchurch and Company, Kira Thompson Ed spoke a bit about the ship and also welcomed the new relationship.
Their only call to Dominica this season has brought us over 600 passengers in organized tours. However, being on the bayfront this morning, it looks like that we've gotten many more in terms of private tours, which is great for the island. With a complement of over 2,516 passengers and 900 and I believe it's 90 crew. It's a great pleasure to have you all here with us at the port. I'm sorry that it's a rainy day, but that's why we have so many shades of green. The MSC POESA is the third in the Musica class ship of the MSC company and was inaugurated in 2008. So she's a relatively new vessel that's coming to our shores. And as you can see from the decor, she's a beautiful vessel. So I hope you can all take advantage of the wonderful day they have planned for us. Again, we'd like to welcome the Captain Veriano and his crew to Dominica and wish you a safe sailing from here onwards.
Captain Francesco Veninero had this to say by way of thanks.
Really, thanks for this, your investment, for give us the opportunity to do docking today in Dominica, and thank you for giving to us the opportunity to visit your country, your island. For me, I repeat, it's an honor and a pleasure to have you on board this morning, and I hope in the next future more cool in this island. Thank you very much. Enjoy this day, enjoy the meal, enjoy everything. Grazie. Thank you. Grazie.
The MSC POESA left Dominica for St. Martin on Monday evening. The Discover Dominica Authority reports that Dominica welcomed 194 cruise ship calls for the 2011-2012 cruise ship season and is expecting about 159 calls for the 2012-2013 season.
Encouraging statistics have revealed Dominica's achievements thus far in pursuing a 100% target in the 8 Millennium Development Goals. Millennium Development Goals, or MDGs, are specific areas in which people's lives should be improved. Those goals seek to free people from extreme poverty and multiple deprivations. Dominica's chief statistician and head of the Millennium Development Goals Monitoring Committee, Prema Carret, delivered a presentation on the island's progress in achieving those goals. Beginning with Goal 1, which is to eradicate extreme hunger and poverty, Carret reported a decrease in Dominica's poverty level from 39% of the population in 2002 to 28.8% in 2009. She concluded, therefore, that if sustained, Dominica would have met the Millennium Development Goal number 1. Goal 2 is to achieve universal primary education.
Dominica has already attained universal primary education and achieved universal secondary education in 2005 and is continuing to implement programs towards universal tertiary education. However, attention should be given to reason for student dropouts, particularly at the secondary level. A tracer program should be put in place to ensure that no youth is left behind within the education system, by this meaning either within the academic or vocational education system. Thus, close collaboration should be established between education planners and youth workers for tracing with respect to dropouts. Current reviews have also suggested and recommended mathematics syllabus for secondary schools and also an English syllabus. This is expected by the 2013-2014 academic year, that is before the 2015 MDG Global Reporting.
Carret noted that necessary steps must be taken to address the secondary school dropout rate and to train more secondary school teachers, especially in the area of child psychology. Goal 3 aims to promote gender equality and empower women. The indicators are based on the share of women in wage employment in the non-agricultural sector and the proportion of seats held by women in national parliament.
Dominica has progressed in increasing the number of women employed in the non-agricultural sector, moving from 46.7% in 2005 to an estimated 49.1% in 2011, that is of total women employed. However, the proportion of seats held by women in parliament is significantly low, recording only 14.8%. National programs should promote and encourage gender equality and empowerment of women in various sectors. The gender disparity at the parliamentary level needs to be addressed. Further steps need to be encourage women participation in the decision-making process, one of which is creating a conducive environment for participating in the political process. Women should be motivated to participate in the political process and that opportunities should be given for representation. It is recommended that women occupy at least 40% of seats in Parliament by 2015.
Dominica's efforts to achieve the fourth goal of reducing child mortality is sufficient to see a steady decline in the current child mortality rates.
Presently, intervention programs are being implemented to reduce infant mortality, which records 29.66. Given the effectiveness of these intervention programs, the infant mortality rate is expected to steadily decline to a rate not exceeding 10% by 2015.
Millennium Development Goal number 5 is to improve maternal health, and the chief statistician, Prema Carret, says that has generally been achieved. Carret reported on Dominica's progress on goal number 6 to combat HIV/AIDS, malaria, and other diseases.
Dominica has virtually eradicated the incidence of malaria. Deaths associated with malaria is 0.0. According to senior health officials, no local transmission of malaria has occurred since the 1960s. Deaths from tuberculosis have not occurred since 2007. These deaths primarily occurred in the oldest age group, 80 years and over, with that group accounting for 100% of occurrences. According to health officials, all tuberculosis cases were managed under the DOTS internationally recommended tuberculosis control strategy. Deaths associated with HIV/AIDS has remained relatively stable over recent periods, accounting for 0.25 to 0.8% of deaths over the last 4 years.
She also stated that the island can expect to see a continued decline in the number of HIV/AIDS related deaths. Goal 7 is to ensure environment sustainability, and according to CARET, there has been a decrease in the imports of ozone-depleting substances and an increase in land area covered by forest.
Dominica continues to work towards the progress of integrating the principles of sustainable development into country policies and programs and reverse the loss of environmental resources. Dominica is committed to preserving its natural endowment of flora and fauna in the establishment of protected areas, enforcement of environment protective laws, and continued advocacy in environment education. In 2000, an additional 8,242 acres of forest was added to the forest reserve, thereby registering a total forest reserve of 40,229 acres, covering 21.71% of total land area. In 2009, a proposal for an additional 1.93 acres of protected area in the Williams settlement was submitted to be added to the Emerald Pool protected areas.
Indicators also show that 95.5% of Dominica's population have access to an improved drinking water source, 84% are using improved sanitation facilities, and 71.7% enjoy secure home tenure. This means they have a right to continue to occupy property and enjoy secure state protection against unlawful evictions. Dominica continues to partner with other countries for development, which is goal number 8.
Dominica pursues and maintains a free market and liberal economy. No restrictions exist on any country. The main trading partners in exports are the Caribbean region, registering 70 to 80%, followed by the United Kingdom with 11 to 13%. The main trade suppliers are the United States of America, accounting for 36 to 40% of imports, and the Caribbean region, 29.8%. Dominica's trade expansion is evident with other countries. In the last 2 years, import trade with Venezuela moved from 1.7%, that's in 2007, to 7% in 2010. That is over the last 4 years. The country is in a position to achieve the targets, given the participation in global economic development, relations with other countries, collaboration with regional and international partners, and investment in communication and technology. The country is well poised to achieve these targets.
The promise to achieve those 8 goals by 2015 was made in the year 2000. All 193 United Nations member states and at least 23 international organizations have agreed to achieve those goals by the year 2015. Tarnia, I must say that as a Dominican citizen, I'm very proud of our status. We're doing so well, especially for a small country to reach that far in achieving those 8 goals. I think it's very remarkable.
This is definitely good news, Jarna, and we must say that that has to be attributed to governments putting in place certain policies and adhering to those policies, because you will appreciate that if the government is not proactive in putting these policies in place, then we would not have been able to achieve those goals.
I agree. I specifically want to mention the primary school education. Look how far we've come. We've already implemented universal primary education. We're on to universal early childhood education, and I think we're doing very well. We're at a good pace, and I think props to the government for that as well.
Definitely, definitely. And that's the English segment of the news. We now join McPherson St. Luce for the Creole highlights.
Allô tout le monde, bienvenue à cette nouvelle en créole. Non, moi c'est McPherson St. Luce. Premièrement, et Banque Dominique tient un gros meeting aujourd'hui. Banque la délivre report money opération yo fonctionner pour dernier l'année financière qui sorti venir au bout. Chairman Banque la M. Martin Charles, by report pendant représentative gouvernement Honorable Ambrose George, représenté à gouvernement.
Et par là, moi parler bon matin, c'est pour comment banque là pour succès, pour your experience, pour Nania qui finit, avec pour kias yo pour continuer résolution yo, commitment yo, avec pour les objectifs yo mettez en place pour certains qui yo joignent ces objectifs ça. Banque là c'est une banque qui est bien important en Dominica, c'est une banque de développement, c'est une banque qui a plusieurs Dominicains, a plusieurs projets dans le pays. Projet qui a mon travail, projet qui a employé mon, projet qui a fait plus business en pays pour continuer le développement Dominique.
En autre nouvelle, projet bâtiment State College Dominica marché bien formidable. Projet cela qui a bâti en stock farm, qui est un service pour policiers gouvernement ou étudiants à l'université en chaque maison en pays là, et puis éducation haute qualité. Manager projet là Samiye fait parole que projet cela qui commencé l'année qui passée, bien avancé et puis qui est expecté pour finir par octobre l'année prochaine. Monsieur y est bien plaisir désigne bâtiment là et puis ni espoir développement facilité neuf salam qui one bas Dominicain. Il y a l'autre aspect projet ça là c'est pour oui bâtir vieux bâtiment là désigne là déjà aller pour gouvernement garder qu'a sorti votre compagnie là qui a bâti projet ça là. Shanghai Construction Group Horde People's Republic of China qu'a bâti projet ça là. Moun qui a tué les animaux pour aller à la vente saison Noël Salam, si vous suivre certaines régulations. Parole Salam sorti le chef département santé environ Anthony Scotland.
Tous ces gens qui ont tué les animaux pour aller pour check ça que inspecteur là, environmental officer à la district il pour faire un job pour ces gens venir inspect bien là. So tout nous a dit pour faire ça bonnet all à présent si on des pas de pour tuer on est beaucoup office là norme là non niveau là c'est D66 3 4 6 7 ou D66 3 4 6 8. So nous que tout le monde qui a tué bête pour les qui a tué bête ça place ça qui a tué bête là baisser la net on est en tapoline ou ça mettez à l'éther et ben ou pas ni pour faire vienne là toucher terre si vous a tué ça au cattle en bœuf on est pour panler dès nous a tué la pour là. Then on est pour mettre viande ça nettoyer viande là et pour 12/9 et bien ça mettre viande là à l'air. So il ça pan pour inspecteur la venir check li. Donc a dit toute tête CBF là nous check tête bœuf qui plus important a dit dans inspection. So là où tu au bœuf make sure tête là ou ka quitter tête là pour inspecteur la check li.
Et puis finalement, le ministre de la Santé, Honorable Julius Timothy, qui a complimenté travailler l'hôpital Princess Margaret pour haute qualité, commitment et dédication, il y a un bon service santé pour la population là. Ministre Timothy, un bon compliment salam pendant qu'il était délivré l'adresse en cérémonie semaine passée, où la plaisir de travailler était recognisé pour achievement de travail à l'hôpital Princess Margaret. Quand même, Honorable Timothy veut ce travail là pour pas arrêter faire bon travail, ça créer complacency, même si il y a une recognition. Gouvernement Dominique, si l'homme ministre Timothy, qui mettait autant attention à ces bonnes qualités santé, bah Dominique. Messieurs, mesdames, ça c'est tout pour nouvelle en créole pour à présent. Non, moi c'est McPherson, Luce. Qu'est-ce que tout le monde en bon saison Noël? Au revoir.
Do you need help taming your anger? Please stay tuned for the tip of the day. To tame your temper, wait until you're calm to express your anger. As soon as you're thinking clearly, express your frustration, but in an assertive but non-confrontational way. State your concerns and needs clearly and directly without hurting others or trying to control them.
It also helps to get some exercise. Physical activity can provide an outlet for your emotions, especially if you're about to erupt. Physical activity stimulates various brain chemicals that can leave you feeling happier and more relaxed than you were before you worked out. And that's National Focus. As usual, we invite your suggestions or comments. Please feel free to drop us an email at gis@dominica.gov.dm, or you can visit our website at news.gov.dm.
Look us up on our GIS Dominica pages on both YouTube and Facebook. On behalf of the entire news production team, I'm Jarna Hector.
And I'm Tarnia Green. Thank you so much for watching.